So today I wanted to talk about Ana and why I feel like she's going to be another strong pick in this season. Now yesterday I talked all about Moira, how I feel like she's probably going to be the best support this season. But one of my other favorite supports this season has been Ana, and after the Mercy changes, she really has been able to come up quite a bit and finally become a viable pick once again. And this is kind of weird because Ana hasn't really ever been in a viable state. Usually she's either the overpowered character that creates the meta or a completely useless character that you don't really want to play. But right now it seems like she's going to be finally in a state where she's pickable, but you can pick up other supports as well. So I guess that's kind of good because hopefully that'll mean that Ana will stay in the state for quite a while and that she'll become a good main to go for. But with all that out of the way, I guess, today I want to talk about why you might want to play Ana to kind of escape out of platinum, out of gold, and why she can be such a good character in those ranks and just in every single different rank. And as well, I'll talk a little bit about how Ana works in the meta and how you kind of want to be playing her. So with all that said and behind us, let's get started. So I think the most important thing and the first thing to talk about is Ana with triple tank. That's probably the easiest thing to say that she's going to work well with. In the past, Ana created the triple tank meta. Right now, I don't feel like she's really going to be creating it as much. It's mainly going to be Moira with just so much healing on all those tanks at the same time. But Ana still does play to a similar effect that she used to. She still has a similar amount of healing that she did in the first triple tank meta, and you still supply the highest consistent healing possible to your tanks. Moira can get out more healing per second, obviously, in a big push, but when Moira's out of juice, who else is going to be there to heal them up? Mercy can, but I feel like Ana can do that better, and Ana can charge up an ultimate that is better. And I'd still say that Ana is going to be an amazing pick with Moira, but even by herself, I think she can be fine. And one thing I also want to mention about Ana is that if people don't pick the 2-2-2 meta comp, and if they actually go the triple tank, she's going to work great. But if they do go the 2-2-2 meta comp, which most people try to do in competitive, she's still going to work okay. I think Moira is going to start to hurt a little bit the less tanks you have, but Ana will still be fine as long as you can just make a lot of damage from your kit, which you should probably be able to do if you decide to pick up and play this character quite a bit. Now, another thing that I feel like is going to be important about Ana in this season is that her ultimate synergizes with just about every tank in the game, just naturally, and that's really great for when you're playing triple tank. With Zarya, she does almost some of the highest DPS in the game if she's at 100% charge. Put the Ana ult on her, she's never going to die, charge up her ult instantly, do so much damage, that's amazing. With D.Va, she's essentially never going to die, just be in the front line. Orisa does a ton of damage, never going to die again. Reinhardt, that's just the classic, does a ton of damage. And even with Roadhog, you could still have the Roadhog ult, you ult Ana, and just maul the floor with everybody. I think just generally her ultimate synergizes with all the tanks, and even the characters that aren't the tanks that are going to be played, that being Genji and Reaper, they still work quite well as well. The good old Beyblade on Reaper, and even if he doesn't have his ultimate, just shooting the enemy tanks in the face when ulted is a good way to play it out. And Genji being able to ult him, nanoblade him, and then him getting into the enemy backline and killing their Ana, that can be great as well. I feel like all the characters that are going to become played a little bit more, she works well with, and that's something that's kind of nice because her ultimate didn't work that well at all with spam comp. It was pretty terrible with most of those characters, but now I think it will be a more viable pick, so that's why I feel like we might as well play her a little bit more as well and start to try to get her ult charge more because it will be more important to have now. So let's talk about one thing that I feel like a lot of people aren't going to talk about way too much, and that is vulnerability as a character. Honestly, if you're playing Ana, she's going to become one of the most vulnerable characters in this meta. Right now we have Moira and Lucio, and even Mercy still a little bit, and those characters and supports are all really hard to kill. They have ways to get out, ways to heal themselves, and just so much more mobility than you as Ana. As Ana, you have damage, you have a little bit of healing on yourself, and you have the sleep dart. But if two people jump on you, it's going to be kind of hard for yourself. When you're playing this character, you have to remember that you need to play safe. You need to play on the high ground, you need to play back. And I guess if the enemy keeps sending a ton of flankers directly at you when you're in your own backline, you need to kind of figure out to play a little bit more forward and ask for your your Winston or your Reinhardt to help you. That's kind of what you have to do. Overall, remember that Ana is going to be a very risky pick compared to most of the other supports in the game right now, but maybe a little bit less risky than somebody like Zenyatta. Zenyatta does kind of have a get out of jail free card though with his ultimate, which you don't have, so kind of keep that in mind when you want to pick up Ana. Can you really take that pressure that you have as this character? Because it is quite a bit more than most of the other supports. And the final thing I want to talk about with Ana in this new meta is that Ana can actually counter Mercy more than ever now. If Mercy wants to ult, let's say the enemy team has a Mercy 1 trick, which still do exist quite often, all you have to do is sleep dart her, throw your grenade at her, or just shoot her 3 times and she's kind of in trouble. I feel like if you're good as Ana, you're going to be able to almost always just kill the Mercy by yourself, and that's important because you're countering the enemy support pick as your support pick. I guess Zenyatta can as well do a very similar thing, but Ana, I think, is probably one of the best picks to counter an enemy Mercy now. While before, she couldn't really do much against that, so that's kind of nice. And as well, I feel like Ana's ultimate now is probably more powerful than enemy Mercy, so that's another reason to finally pick up this character, as I was talking about a little bit before. But that's all really I'm going to talk about as far as the meta goes with Ana. I think she's going to be strong. I think you can pick her up definitely, and yeah, she's going to fit with most of the meta characters, which is exactly what you want. But now I want to talk about some other stuff. How can you use this character to get out of a lower rank, and how can you actually play this character to win games? And the first thing I'm going to say is that Ana is a hard character, and she does take a lot of time. If you pick her up in a lower rank and you don't have that great of aim or that great of game sense, you're going to die a lot, you're probably going to drop elo a lot. It's going to be kind of hard for you for the first week or two. But once you finally start to get hold of this character, get how to play her, get how to make those shot calls, get where to stand and where to not die at, I feel like she has some of the highest carry potential in the game, especially at lower elos. If you can get one good ultimate off and keep that person alive, let's say a Reinhardt or let's say a Genji, you've essentially won that team fight. I guess not by yourself, but with another one of your teammates. And not all the other supports in the game can do that. As well, you can get picks by yourself. And in lower elo, a lot of people are just kind of out of place. If you can get one nice sleep dart, you can win the fight for yourself as well. And overall, I feel like Ana, while hard to play in low elo because it's going to take a lot of time and effort to become good enough for her to be playable, is one of the best carries once you finally become playable on her. One thing I'm going to say though is that if you are trying to play Ana at low elo right now without any practice or anything, what you want to do is just focus more on being a healing bot. Of course, you do want to try to hit people with your sleep darts and get grenades that anti the enemy team, all that stuff. But for the most part, try to focus on healing your tanks, charging up your ultimate, and then waiting until the enemy team is very close to you to hit those sleep darts instead of shooting them at really far away. Ana's damage is insane, her outplay potential is insane, but don't waste your healing on potential damage when you could get almost guaranteed healing. Only go for damage if you either know that you can hit that shot, which doesn't always happen in lower elo, or if you have no more people to heal on your team. Otherwise, just focus a little bit more on healing until you finally get super good aim, or until you finally just kind of know exactly where to be as this character, or know when you can actually go for damage. Now, another thing I want to say about Ana is that right now she can outplay the enemy flankers, and I think that's going to be an important thing in this new meta. I'm not sure if they're going to play way too many flankers, maybe we're just only going to see tank busters on the enemy team, but whenever there's a lot of tanks, there's usually quite a bit of flankers as well. Not to kill the tanks, but to instead kill the supports behind the tanks. And I mean, if you're playing Ana, you're going to be one of the prime targets of the enemy Genji, or the enemy Tracer, or the enemy Doomfist. But that's not too bad for yourself, because Ana can in some cases kill these characters. Or if you can't kill them, at least put them to sleep, run away, heal yourself up, and go on from there. Not every support in the game can do this, and I think that's an important thing about Ana. You can kill enemy flankers if you become good enough for her, and especially if you're very good at Ana at lower elos, and the enemy flankers aren't way too amazing, you can actually consistently kill them, which is nice. But even if you get to higher up elos, you still can at least put some pressure on them and force them back, hopefully, if you at least have another support backing you up, or another tank or something backing you up, or I guess another DPS. So, while I was thinking about this video, one thing that really came to mind that I felt like I had to remind you guys about if you are trying to play Ana in lower elo, is making sure that you hit your ultimate on the person that you want to hit it on. And you can do this in many ways. Of course, just have perfect aim, that's nice, but as well, I feel like in a lot of cases, what you probably want to do at lower elo is ult a little bit before your teammate actually goes in, especially if it's going to be a super hectic team fight. If you ult the Genji and waste a second or two on your ult, of course, that's not the best situation, but if you can make sure that it's on the Genji, that he's ready to go in, that he's not going to be bursted before he goes in there with his ultimate, that is in a lot of cases a little bit better. Sure, it might waste some time, but if you're kind of wondering if you're going to be able to hit that or not, I'm going to say use your ult earlier rather than later, especially if you're trying to go for a ult on a tank, because oftentimes you're at least going to block a little bit of damage before the tank goes in anyways, like chip damage, and there's not way too much harm being put on that. And I guess the final thing I want to say about if you want to play Ana this new season is, if you're trying to play her, try to duo queue with a tank player. Or I guess a Genji, but I'd probably recommend honestly a tank player. If you can make so that you and this tank become a common, just constructed core that can hold your team together, then you can make so your other teammates don't have to worry way too much. And in general, you can keep this guy alive, he can keep you alive, and your teammates can kind of just play directly around that. I feel like probably the best tanks to play in this situation would be D.Va, Reinhardt, or Orisa, all tanks that can take out a lot of damage, give you a lot of ult turret as Ana, and then when you finally ult them, make huge pop-offs, tank for a long time, and get a lot of kills. I think those are especially good ideas to go for if you want to play Ana, and I feel like Ana is one of those characters that works especially good in duo queue, because solo queue, it can work okay, but if you are playing duo queue, you know that there's at least that one teammate that you can ult, that you can trust, that will hopefully be able to get kills, or at least in some ways, keep you alive. But anyways, that's all I'm going to say about Ana today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I feel like, yes, Ana is finally back, and she is a good pick to play in competitive, even at lower ranks. While I do think that Moira probably is a little stronger and probably a lot easier to play, if you want to pick up Ana, now might just be the time, finally, after all these months. Anyways, as always, guys, thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think about Ana, put the subscribe button if you want to see any videos like this in the future. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.